Guys, good morning. Happy Thursday. It's Daryl here. It is 3:35 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. Now, I know some of you guys are probably, I know I'm getting a little tired of the impeachment. I just like to see it over. Sometimes I get frustrated that we kind of know with 52 Republican senators, there's a good chance that we know what's going to happen here. And it seems like a lot of times to me, it seems like it's just a show for us. It seems like the senators know exactly they know what happened. They know what they know that president well. They know what happened. These witnesses, all this is just a show for us. Is all it is. They just want to look like they're doing their due diligence. They want to look like they're doing their job. It's all a show. A video I made yesterday, I was talking about how specifically the White House and the Trump administration wanted their defense to start on Monday because of television ratings, because they didn't want to start on Saturday because Monday there'd be more people watching. So it's all just a show for the American people. That's all it is. All right. So today there's some interesting developments with the John Bolton book and the John Bolton story. Yesterday I was looking into it because it started to sound like there was a good chance that John Bolton was going to be a witness. Now, I've said before, I don't think there's any way in hell that the president will let this happen. I think this would be the one thing that might be able to, it's going to put the senators in a hard position. They're being threatened by Trump to vote against the impeachment. But if John Bolton testifies, they're going to look like they're sweeping it under the rug. They're going to look, it's going to remove a lot of doubt, I believe. I think John Bolton is probably one of the most believable, at least for the Trump supporters, is probably one of the most believable witnesses. All right, so yesterday, I was talking about how the president might claim executive privilege and stop Bolton from testifying. But I started looking into a few things that would make that null and void, seeing as that if Trump already started talking about what's in the book and John Bolton and the situation between him and John Bolton, that might nullify the claim of executive privilege. Because you can't claim executive privilege that this is national security and we can't talk about this while you talk about it. And you can't talk about yourself and then claim nobody else can. And it's that view. And I started thinking about the book being public domain. And would John Bolton be prevented from testifying if Trump tried to claim executive privilege, but would the book still be evidence? Because it's public domain. So that's a few questions I had yesterday. I am far from a legal analyst. I'll tell you guys something. I'm along with you guys. I'm learning a lot about the government and about law in these last couple of weeks. Another interesting development just since yesterday with the president signing the NAFTA, the new NAFTA agreement yesterday, which I looked it over and. It didn't sound that bad. It sounded like a lot of stuff was saying the same. That we'll be able to sell more dairy to Canada. I didn't see a lot to complain about it. Anyway, but during the signing of that NAFTA agreement yesterday, of course, Trump can't keep quiet, and there was a few tweets yesterday where Trump started to claim that the book can't come out. That the book there's defense, there's it's claims of national security, that there is top secret information in that book. And we should have seen this coming. Yesterday I talked about state-run TV and Fox News, and here we go with another example. Where our reading material, where he's trying to censor our reading material, trying to say, this president, it just makes him that much more adamant that we remove this president, that we at least electing somebody else in November at the very least. So that was his claims yesterday. That now it appears that he and his attorneys are starting to go down that road. That this book shouldn't even be published. And I could already hear Trump supporters. Well, that's okay. It's national security. I don't understand Trump supporters sometimes. They claim to love America, but their actions are quite anti-American. Yeah. So there was a couple. Oh, so there was a couple of tweets yesterday. And of course, I was wondering too how long it would take before Trump started getting nasty. He to the rest of us, he's so obvious. Nobody talks about something that much and gets that upset and tweets 142 times in one day. It starts calling people names and starts throwing out all these accusations unless they're very worried about, unless they're very concerned about something. And that's all he does. So yesterday, he ramped it up with John Bolton. The first tweets I saw about John Bolton were, the very first ones about the book, were that he doesn't know what John's talking about. And they were for Trump. They were kind of low key tweets, and I was wondering, watch within the next few days, John Bolton's going to have his very own nickname. That's my claim of the day. Watch, it's interesting to see. I guarantee you, by the end of this week, John Bolton will be given a juvenile Trump nickname like he does with all of his enemies. How Trump supporters can proudly wear their hat and claim to, this guy's a great president, with the juvenile nickname. The juvenile nicknames is one of the most embarrassing things as an American I've ever seen a U.S. president do. Making up these nicknames, these ridiculously elementary school nicknames for his detractors. It's embarrassing. It is. I can't believe a grown man of 70 years old, never mind the president of the country, is doing this. Anyway, so he claims, in the tweets yesterday, he claims John Bolton begged him for a job. Yeah. John, can you picture John Bolton begging for anything? Look, I don't like the guy. To me, he's not a good guy. He's a warmonger. That's what he is. He looks like a freaking warmonger. He looks like a John Wayne wannabe. All right, but anyway, claims that Bolton begged him for a job, and you have to excuse me. There was one or two other disparaging comments about Bolton. I can't quite remember what they were. I remember the begging, because it just doesn't. Come on. If we were to believe Trump, people come into his office and kiss his ring and get on their knees and thank God that he's president, and then all start crying. He's actually said that before, that people start crying, that big grown muscular men start crying when they meet him. I don't get it, you Trump supporters, man. I don't get it. I don't get how you guys could go out in public and say, yeah, I support Trump. I don't get it. I would be so embarrassed, but to each his own. All right. So anyway, Trump's getting more and more concerned about this. He was concerned about. I'm sure he does not want Bolton to testify. If Bolton testifies, it's gonna put the senators in a hard place. And like I said, look, yesterday I made a video yesterday that I didn't drop, that I didn't download. And it was a very pessimistic, I was without coffee and I was in a very dark place. And I was like, this is all just bull, man. The senators, everybody knows what happened. Everybody knows he did this. And everybody knows what he did was wrong, illegal. It was an abuse of his office. It was corrupt. What presidents should not do. Use our tax money, use our leverage as our country as leverage for his personal campaign or whatever, or his personal finances or whatever. I mean, the senators know this, and it's all just a TV show for us to make it look like they're trying to, sort it out. And they all know. It's just a show. It all is just a show. The game here is to provide so much evidence that the Republican senators are going to look bad come election time if they keep sweeping this under the rug. That's the game. If you can pull up enough witnesses like Bolton in the book and Parnas being just by the way he looks, I think, and being a past Ukrainian citizen or whatever, as I think the American public just doesn't give him a lot of credit. He looks like a bad actor, in a John Gotti movie or something. And then I'm not saying that's my opinion, but I'm just saying on appearances, like as far as like Trump supporters would go, that I think Bolton is much more believable. I believe them all. I do. I don't see. Trump claims that these guys have this reason for lying or that reason for lying. It's for fame. It's for money. I mean, he would know. But like I told you, I've told you guys 100 times already. For 23, 24 years, I was one of the biggest liars. I lied about everything, manipulated people left and right. And I remember why and how I manipulated people by telling half truths, by including little observations in. It became, unfortunately, and not something I'm bragging about, but I became very adept at, very good at it. And I see these signs, and I see these in other people that are lying or manipulating, like Trump. I see the fear in them. Like I said, people don't go crazy on Twitter. If you're innocent, you're innocent. And you let the chips fall where they may, and you let people testify and let the evidence prove you're innocent. You don't get all angry and try to block everything. That's what a guilty person. It doesn't take an ex-drug addict to figure that one out. All right, guys. Anyway, that's. I wasn't even going to make a video on this because I know we're probably reaching. I could see my views going down too, because you guys are probably getting bored of this stuff. I don't know, but this was. I thought this was good news this morning. The part about the book being blocked by the president, I thought was very, very important. The president trying to limit the president trying to stop a book from being published, information that we could read, our reading, trying to censor our reading material. That's a freaking problem with me, a big problem. That rises above Fox propaganda TV. And now we're talking about basically talking censorship. All right. You guys decide for yourself. Have a good Thursday.